Welcome back, everyone, for another 4 minutes of encouragement just for you. We're back, and today's message is titled, I Remember When.
Yes, I remember when. When I think about where God has brought me from, I can't help but to remember a certain time in my life, a few years back in undergrad. And I wanted to finish and get my degree and transition on my job. And we had worked it out and planned it so that I could come off my job for a couple of months and pay all of our bills. But we got hit with a hard financial obligation, and it changed the course of our direction. In fact, we lost a car. And I don't remember even telling many people that we lost it way back then, but we lost our vehicle. And I remember still having to flesh through and have faith in God to believe that He was going to get us through it. And the hardest part of that was that I had to actually take 3 buses in order to get to school. I didn't have a job. Most of our bills were paid, but we lost our means of transportation. So I had to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and catch the bus to Camden, and then from Camden to the Atlantic City Express, and then from Atlantic City to the Galloway. And it took hours and hours, especially during the winter time when it snowed. And all I could see was my end dream and my end goal, and I refused to succumb to the challenges. I don't know what you're going through today. I don't know if you're at the peak of a certain goal, or if you're at the peak of a transition in your life, something that you've been praying for or believing God for. But I want to remind you that He's made you strong, and He's made you strong enough to endure whatever you're going through right now. Sometimes it feels like when we take 2 steps forward, we have to take a step back, but God is walking with us, and we can do it.
I remember when. Yes, I remember when I went to get tested for COVID-19. As I was awaiting those results, I felt positive, I was optimistic. But I got a phone call that said positive. And when I heard the word positive, I began to think about many things. One, for the most part, I handle the domestic affairs of my home, which consists of cooking and cleaning and, taking care of the children. And then fear also began to grip me. Being the fact that so many have died from this virus, I began to think, what if, I'm going to die from this? So I began to pray to God, and God answered me. And He began to send help. I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to worry about cooking. I didn't have to worry about food shopping. All of the domestic affairs that I normally handle was taken care of. And then I began to think about fear, and the scripture came to mind in Psalms 23. Because when you go through COVID, you feel like you're walking through the shadow of death. And I was reminded of that scripture. Yea, though I walk through the shadow, the valley of death, I will fear no evil, for God is with me. And those are the things that comforted me. And I want to encourage you to continue to hold on to God and know that He's with you, even in the darkest times. And even though times when you have those questions, He's with you.
Yes, I want to encourage you guys from Psalms chapter 84, verses 4 and 5, where it says, Blessed are they that dwell in the house of the Lord, for they shall be forever praising God, whose strength is in thee, and whose heart is set upon their pilgrimage. I don't know where you are in life, but I want to remind you that praise is fluid, praise is continuous, and praise is perfected. And no matter where you find yourself in the midst of praise, whether it's right now or somewhere in your future, I want to remind you that when we connect in praise to God and thankfulness to God, we're connecting with God in heaven and all the angels. I also want to remind you that when you're going through atrocities in life and you feel like you got to take that 2 steps and then that step backwards, that God is stepping with you, and there's nothing that's too hard for Him. Remember when I told you about my vehicle and losing our car and having to change our direction? Now, because I persevered and because God was with us and we never lost our praise, I can say today that I finished school and then I'm working the job that was in my dreams to work. But if I didn't, follow God, follow His direction, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I want to remind you out there, you see your dreams right in front of you. And for me, it's a constant thing. But I want to remind you that no matter where you are in life, keep praising God. You'll get there one day at a time. Don't give up. God is with you.